Hey YouTube! Ibanez S series. This is the one I was talking about last week. I was actually playing this round at Scott's. He's done a wee trade with this for that EVH guitar, which was in a video, which I might not have put out yet, but he's now going to set it up. Yeah, so trade this in a blazer for. Yeah, so this is a s320 IO9 from 2009. I used to have the RG version of this. So S series are thin. You can't really see how really thin they are. And so you get like volume and tone, 5-way switch, which has the cool, so you get bridge, outer coils or inner coils, 2 single coils, both humbuckers, this pickup wired as a parallel, which is a hum cancelling single coil, and then humbucker. It's got the amazing trem. I can't remember what this is called. Is it a low pro or a 0 point or something like that? It was very sophisticated type bridge. It's also got adjustment things to adjust the spring tension in the back. You just turn this, so there's no screwdriver and stuff, which is pretty cool. And it's got like 2 sets of springs, kind of like that Floyd Rose FRX I just fitted, which I also might not have done, not put the video out for yet, where it springs back. It's got two sets of springs fighting against each other, so it kind of bounces back quicker. This has it got the Wizard 2 neck? Could be the Wizard 2 neck, something like that anyway. Yeah, so I do really like this. It's a mahogany body as well. The one I had, the RG I had was the RG version was a mahogany body. I think these are much more expensive than the RG one just because of the bridge, and also it must take more time to carve it out. Kind of think this is maybe a bit more. Where is it? There. It's kind of the Roadster. So it's kind of, that is technically an RG. Well, as it says, it's RG in the back of it. So that's the RGs for Roadster guitar. And then in 1987, the year after, Steve Vai came out with this pointier one. So that they didn't completely ditch that shape, because I think that it's kind of, you can almost see that becoming this. I can anyway. Yeah, so as I said, it's thin. It's got this piece of plastic, which I'm not sure if it's the aesthetic of it, and it's kind of raised up to take the 5-way switch. So you can see because the whole thing's black. But it's because the guitar's not thick enough. And if you even look at this plate here is not recessed. It's surface mounted, which gives you another millimetre. I've done this when I've been trying to push-pull pots in guitars. It's like the extra millimetre. It's like just can make all the difference to fit the electrics in. Also, I think the same thing's happened here. See the back plate, it's kind of surface mounted, and see how there's like a gap here so you can see the block. I think that gap is because it meant that the block just sits slightly too high, so you need to raise it up a little bit. But amazing guitars. I mean, Scott absolutely swears by these. He's got 2 of them. This was his second, his backup one. The other one's all beat up, and it's like, we did a video where we comparing the 2, and they're both the same, but not quite the same. It's slightly different. I think, to be honest, the other one, because it had been his main guitar, he'd gigged it for years, had just been played an awful lot more, so it was a bit smoother feeling, whereas this was always like, in the gig bag, never really get used, I don't think. Yeah, so using my wee Laney VC15, no pedals on. So it's got the original Infinity pickups. Which must be good, because Scott kept them in it, and it's the same with his other one. Just used them, and he's the guy that bought the FGN and immediately ripped out the pickups because he didn't like them. So these are must be good, or at least his taste. So that's your humbucker in the neck. Then this is the single, well, it's a hum cancel, which does have this sort of single coily. Then you get both humbuckers. And then the outer 2 coils, which is your kind of Stratty. Or probably more, in fact, I'll tell you right now whether it's inner or outer coils. It is inner coils. But there you go. So it's inner coils. Then humbucker in the bridge. sing like Iron Maiden, but all the wrong notes. Yeah. So. But these bridges are phenomenal. I don't think they're available in any other guitar. To be honest, I'm pretty sure Scott's actually sold this for what the bridge is worth. So you buy the bridge, get a free guitar. It does return to pitch. It actually does the fluttery thing. Go for it. Marshall. So neck in parallel. Wrapped. For the metal zone pedals are still not giving back. Back to the rap. So I do like one of these. I might need to get myself one at some point. I think the prices of these have shot up through the roof though. So I'm going to weigh it just out of interest, because it does seem very, very light. Well, for what it is, probably not that light. 3.2. That's pretty light. I was wondering if it was as light as my super lightweight Yamaha, but it's 2.7 or something. It's insanely light. That's the one that I thought kind of looks a bit like this, but it's nothing like as thin. No, it's thick in the middle. It's fine in the middle. It's just at the edges. It's got a really ergonomic feel to it. And I guess you could argue that with the mahogany body and the sort of thin paint. Normally, when you see these, they've got big chunks out. This one does have a few wee scuffs here, but normally the paint's completely off them because it's like a pure thin coating, which is great for letting the mahogany sound. The tone of the woods come out. Tone. If you're into mad Steve Vai type shredding and doing all the sort of all that, this guitar is totally for you. I feel a little bit intimidated by this. It's the same with Scott's got a Team J-Craft RG, which is kind of similar. It's a more expensive, 10 times the price guitar, but it's a very similar. It's amazing how close they are. It is a total super speed thing. It's kind of like the Japanese at some point. This is like, see, like a really, really, really good hammer. It's kind of like that. It's like, it's a total tool. And technically you can't really argue it's any better. It doesn't have like the big chunky bit that you get in a Telly or the weight of a Les Paul or any of these things. It's just kind of super ergonomic. I could say like it's like the future of guitars, but I mean these, I don't know when the Sabres came out, sort of the 90s maybe, might even be late 80s when they first came out. Also got a cool jack socket place as well, which means you can play it sitting on the settee, you can lean it against the wall and everything without having, normally when you've got ones that goes in the end, which I'm not a big fan of, and also the ones that go in the top that way. In fact, the reason it doesn't go in the top is because the guitar's not thick enough. The guitar's... That may be something actually I noticed when I unplugged this yesterday. You might want a special lead. This one, I mean, it fits in fine, but see, to get it out, I've actually got to pull on the cable, which isn't the best way of doing it because it's got a really small... that bit, you kind of, if you can get one that's got a longer... This part of it would probably be a good idea. Don't know if I've got another lead. No, it's easy, just lying about, quite as easy to find. But it goes in fine. It just means you might break your lead if you try and pull it out with the cable. You just have to kind of. But that's just because of my lead. I'll give the metal zone another shot. I think this might be a... And like a lot of these things, it's like kind of does totally do Stratty things, even though you look at this and just expect super metal. Although I don't think quite as much with this shape as you do with the RG, because it's a bit pointier. But ultimately, using buzzwords, versatile. Yeah, totally versatile. Got what you got, like the neck pickup sort of hum cancelling and a Strat sound, and then a middle sort of position 2 or position 4 type sound and a Strat, and then a couple of humbuckers. What do you want? I really do like the special switch you get in these, the Cortex switch, where you get the 2 humbuckers and it gives you 5 sounds, and they're all hum cancelling. Brilliant. I don't know why they're not. Why it's not a more popular layout. The actual Cort switch, it's not cheap. It was like 15 quid, something like that. I fitted it to Scott's FGN. But it gives you it's so easy to use the 5 sounds, because you've got, if you had a 3-way switch in it, it's just the same position. I think it doesn't have. I wouldn't have. No. What would the push pull pots do? It already does everything you could possibly want. I noticed actually there there's fret markings in there. So only get 2, and they're both in the 12th fret, but it's still got the lines in the end. Yeah, so I think this is, looking at it, I think it is a wizard neck, or whether it's a wizard 2 or not, but it's kind of really thin this way, but it's got quite big shoulders on it, so it's kind of like a sort of, this as opposed to being like a C or a D, this is more like sort of flat with sort of big shoulders, which is really easy to play. But doesn't necessarily feel super thin. I think that's kind of what's clever about it, because it is thin, but because it's got the big shoulders, I've definitely felt thinner guitars also. It's a 3-piece neck in it. Well, it might not be. I think so. Yes, it is. It's a 3-piece. So you get the whole idea of the grain in the middle. The middle piece will be going that direction, and then the grain on the 2 outside bits will be going in that direction. So if they fight against each other, you end up with a perfectly straight neck, which is a better way of building necks. It's also maybe slightly cheaper because you can use smaller pieces of wood, but it's stronger. And I think you kind of have to do that once you get down to the wizard thing. I don't know if a single piece of maple would be able to still do the guitar neck thing without bending if it was this thin. So I think that's part of why it's been reinforced. It's got a nice big chunky rosewood fingerboard on it as well. They don't make guitars like this anymore. This is a readjustable thing, I don't know what it does, but it's set up, so I'm not going to touch it. So again, this bridge, awesome. It's not going to fit in. If you've managed to get this bridge, you're going to have to do routing. That's not a standard Pink Floyd route. Definitely not. It's just much better designed bridge than a normal Floyd Rose. Even though you still get normal Floyd Roses, it's all super smooth. There's no jaggy bits, and you can rest your hand on it when you're pan muting and stuff, and it doesn't move. I think that's maybe something to do with the opposite spring going in the other direction. Anyhow, rock on, and I'll be back to t-shirts. I ran out of washing soap stuff for the washing machine, so I have bought it. I even braved yesterday. I wore my Bon Jovi t-shirt, so whenever that video comes out, I'll put in a separate section for people slagging off the fact I'm wearing a Bon Jovi t-shirt. Even though I've got a perfectly good excuse, and that excuse was I went to see Bon Jovi. It was £12 for a ticket to go and see him at Hampden Park, sitting right at the back, and it get totally tanked, and then bought a t-shirt for a £5 afterwards. Grand day out. Rock on!